Hello, toy fans, and welcome back to day 8 of my 13 days of Halloween. Alright, toy fans, as you can see here, we do have a Minimate 2-pack featuring the comic book versions of Glenn and Maggie from The Walking Dead. If you guys remember back to last year, I did actually review a set of Walking Dead zombie Minimates, and for the last 365 days, I haven't had any humans for those zombies to terrorize. Now, I've actually read the Walking Dead comic book all the way through the first compendium, and in that entire tome of Walking Dead issues, my favorite characters were actually Glenn and Maggie. And I'm really excited to get these guys out of the box. As you can see here, we do have the blister bubble packaging with the Minimates logo in the upper left, and we've got that Walking Dead logo there towards the bottom. Flipping this package around, you can see all the other characters that were available in this wave that was released in 2014. And then in the lower left, we've got a bio for Maggie. Go ahead and pause now to read that. And in the lower right, we've got a bio for Riot Gear Glenn. Alright, Spook fans, well that's the packaging. Let's say we get these lovebirds out of the box and see what they're all about. Alright, toy fans, so here we have Glenn and Maggie out of the packaging. And as you can see here, these figures do appear to be from around the time that these guys went to the prison. Not only is Glenn in his riot gear, but Maggie's got her super short hair, and Glenn is actually in full-on bald mode. In fact, he's got an accessory, his trademark hat, that on the back even shows flesh coming through. So we definitely know this is after he and Maggie were sneaking around the prison, finding all sorts of rooms to express their feelings together, including the barbershop. We'll take a look at the Glenn figure first. As you already saw, he did have that removable helmet with that interchangeable hat. The helmet itself is actually pretty nice. It's got a fold-down visor that you can actually see through. I mean, it is transparent, and it's sculpted nice enough for a Riot helmet, I suppose. Looking at the Glenn figure up close, though, you're going to see that he does have some sculpted detail here on the front of his torso. Actually, some paint detail here, but some sculpted detail for the buckling. All sorts of pads sculpted on his arms and on his legs, and even on the back of the figure. Not a lot of paint detail on this guy, but I was surprised to see when you pull off his head and remove the torso piece of this armor, there is actually sort of a button-down shirt that's been applied. I don't remember Glenn wearing that specific shirt. Typically, I remember either the baseball tee or the prison jumpsuit. I don't remember when he wore solid black. I'm sure it happened, but it's been a while since I've actually read the comic. And then we've got some paint detail there on the belt buckle, but a pretty nice minifigure overall. Lots of detail, and I'm very happy with that. Maggie, on the other hand, has this, I want to say it's a bathrobe or maybe a long coat. I can't remember exactly, but she's got underneath just sort of a t-shirt design, just standard pants, no paint detail on the back. And then we have some excellent accessories with these guys. For Maggie, you can actually pull the arms off of her torso. They come off pretty easily. These are Minimates after all. Just kind of plop them off here. You can actually remove the jacket and the arms attached to her torso, replace them with arms that have sort of a t-shirt design on them, switch the hands over, and replace the head of the figure, and then you've got a slightly dressed down version of Maggie. And looking at the back of this figure, you can see there's no additional paint detail on the back. Now, Glenn actually has the ability to remove all the armor you see attached to him, but he's a pretty plain minifigure underneath, and I actually kind of like him with the armor on, so I'm going to go ahead and leave it on. But what you can see here is that he does actually have interchangeable hands. So we have these sort of flesh-colored hands, and then, you know, there's no paint detail or anything like that on them, but they do match the actual skin tone of the head. And you can pull these gloves off and put those hands on, which is pretty nice. Also, he has a nightstick accessory that I've already got in his hand. It's sculpted pretty nicely, just has a few ridges on either side of it, and you can pose it to your liking. And lastly, we have a trio of weapons for these guys. We've got a pair of automatic pistols, or semi-automatic pistols for Glenn. They match his riot gear. And then we have just sort of a 6-shot revolver that I'm assuming is for the Maggie figure. They look the same on both sides, no additional paint detail, but some pretty cool weapons. And it's pretty easy to get these in the hands for the figure. With Maggie, you can just go ahead and slide that pistol into her hand. But you can see here, she can hold that pistol pretty nicely. And of course, Glenn, you can just go ahead and put that gun in his hand. And it's also worth noting, too, that Glenn has a holster on his hip. With the shoulder armor on, that holster doesn't actually hold the gun very well, but we can pull the hat off and try to slide a gun into that holster. And I've noticed with both the 6-shooter and with the semi-automatic pistol, the gun doesn't go or recess all the way into the holster, which is a bit disappointing. Lastly, the final note about this Glenn figure is that the way that the feet have been designed, it's actually impossible, seemingly, for him to stand on just his feet alone. There's a problem with the way that they've leveled off the feet once they were sculpted and designed for the figure, where there's an incline on the actual shoe. And you can see here, if I were to stand the feet flat on a flat surface, he would actually be leaning back a little bit. So you're not going to get this guy to stand unless you kind of have him lurching forward to try to counterbalance the weight, or you might just go ahead and just use the display stand that came included with it. Really, you don't want to have to do that with the minifigure, and I'm kind of disappointed that that's how Glenn turned out. But at least Diamond Select included a pair of display bases for these guys, so it doesn't make the standing issue quite so bad. Now, if you're not familiar with Minimates or haven't seen too many of them before, they're actually a surprisingly articulated bunch. They've got a ball joint in the head so they can look down that far and back that far and rotate all the way around. They've got a full rotation here at the shoulder, single jointed elbow to bend down that far and back that far, full rotation here at the wrist, and then they have a hinge joint at the hip so they can move forward that far, the knee bends back that far, and then they have a full rotation here at the ankle. So overall, a great range of articulation for such a tiny little minifigure. Height-wise, we can see that these Minimates do stand right around 2.5 inches tall. For some size comparison, here they are compared to a standard LEGO minifigure, and compared to Mega Bloks Spider-Man, and compared to Creo Transformers Cheetor, and compared to one of the original Minimate figure lines from 2002, we've got Captain Kirk from Star Trek. Here they are compared to the Walking Dead Leg Bite Zombie and Sailor Zombie that I reviewed last year. And finally, here they are compared to the average-heighted Minimate figure. We've got Wolverine from the Marvel vs. Capcom 3 figure line. Ha! Nice work! Thanks. Alright, toy fans, well that's my review of the Minimates, The Walking Dead, Maggie, and Riot Gear Greene figures, released by Art Asylum, Diamond, Select, and Skybound in 2014. Overall, this is a pretty decent Minimate 2-pack with a nice amount of accessories, but it's probably not the definitive version of Maggie and Greene that you might be looking for. True, it's a fun variation on the characters, and the amount of accessories you're getting are pretty nice, especially that Riot suit, which could be used on any Minimate figure once you have the pieces removed. But unless you're a strong fan of these characters like I am, I can't say that this is an essential package to pick up. If nothing else, just go ahead and wait until you can find this set on clearance. Well, thanks for watching this review, guys. I hope you enjoyed it. If you like what you saw here, please feel free to rate, share, and subscribe. Also, let me know in the comments below who's your favorite Walking Dead character, whether it be TV show or comics. Now that he's gone from the TV show, I actually find that I miss Merle quite a bit. Thanks for watching, and until tomorrow, beware the Walking Dead.